Alright, welcome back everybody. Good evening, gamers. Thank you for joining us for the multi-tier console playoffs. This is going to be a PlayStation 4 Grandmasters matchup between Prolegion Gaming and Reminisce. I'll be your host, Swift63, running the camera and the production. On the commentary, we have Soav Donham and Optimus. Thanks for joining us, guys. Optimus, you actually had an opportunity to cast Prolegion's last game, is that correct?
Yes, thank you, Swift. Hello, everybody. Yes, it was Prolegion. They played it was Rebirth at NA, and I was fortunate enough to be able to actually stream and also cast that game as well. So I do have a little bit of background with with Prolegion gaming, and some people would maybe say a bit of a soft spot because it was actually the first time I'd actually casted here on the main channel was that game as well. In terms of Reminisce, I'm not too sure about them. I know that they had the 9-0 season, so they are the top seed, so they didn't play in the quarterfinals, so they've had a bit of extra time to prepare these maps potentially. But I expect the series to be really close and potentially go to sort of like a fifth map sort of scenario. What would you say?
I think you're right. I think this is definitely a chance. I've cast Prolegion one of their earlier games in the regular season, and they looked really good, but coming up against a 9-0 team on Junkertown, they may need to just pull out their best. And as we know, Junkertown, you could see a lot of double sniper. We have seen that 3-3 goats come out a lot on the pro end, and maybe we'll see more of that, but it'll just kind of depend on what everybody's feeling for today.
Well, I mean,
yeah, it's weird how you...
Go ahead, dude.
So, it's weird how you mentioned about the double sniper, and this map is famous for two compositions, which were both started on this map: pirate ship and double sniper. And so far, for every game so far that I have casted for the semi-finals, I have not seen a single goats composition. I have either seen double sniper or pirate ship. So if there was some 3-3 coming out, or goats, obviously more commonly known as, that might actually be interesting to see how teams would actually play it. But it looks like, at first glance, there's going to be pirate ship attack and bunker defense.
And a bunker. Looks like that bunker defense they're going to try and pull it out with that Sombra too, and that may make the difference there, especially trying to get in and get to that Bastion. That may be the way to do it, but we do have Libero on, kind of jumping around between those snipers, and we'll see where they go from there. It looks like you are going to get, it's like you called it, looks like we're going to see that, but there's, on that flank.
Well, almost identical compositions. It's going to be an early pick. Stimp on the Sombra instead of the Hanzo. He's going to get an early pick, but they are going to lose Gunner. Just going to raise him back up. That's the beauty of having Warlock's Tail on that Mercy. They're just going to try and waste as much time as possible. I apologise, chat. Still recovering from that illness. Interesting, Rez going to be coming in there in the middle of the spawn to get the Roadhog back in. He's going to get the hook again onto Gunner, who's going to lose his life. I don't think Rez is back up again. Early tank form's just going to be coming out now by ZI Midnight, just to basically just get out the spawn right now. With Prolegion are forced to back off after losing the Bastion.
Gunner went down with his own tank formation that could make a big difference later too, but we'll have to see.
Both application fields are out, both of them kind of wasted because they're actually behind the actual team fight which is happening. They do Prolegion on defense, so they do have the EMP there by Stimp, who's going to commit it now.
The Mercy did stay back. Syndicate actually maybe makes the difference there. And you couldn't see it. I don't think you could really see it, but Stimp was trying to stop ZR Midnight from getting to that health pack to no luck. Looks like they really took that pirate ship down, and we'll see what happens there. So.
Well, you'd have to say it's kind of interesting, the EMP commit, because what I could see was, all I could see on the field anyway was Prolegion only having 3 people up, and none of them was tanks, I don't think. I think the Baby Diva, they had a Baby Diva at that point, but they commit the EMP, they come in with the tank form, they clear up, and they've burnt off so much time off this fuck already, and look where the payload is. Junkertown's a very sort of snowball map. Dragon's going to come in from Libero on the side, Gunner's going to lose his life after getting hooked in. ZR Midnight is going to pick up GTA. The loss of the Orisa is now down again. Prolegion, they're down 2, they're forced to back out. Reminisce definitely will have the advantage.
They're reset up, they're just chasing down and clearing up now, and it looks like way in the back you can see it, Walnut Tail is trying to get out of there. So maybe they're going to try and recover for that last fight, but with the ultimates are pretty even, we'll have to see where it goes from there.
And ZR Midnight is now fully set up on this payload for the first time in a while. He's been able to get on. The bombs going to be committed, but they need to touch the point. No kill is going to be coming from But Midnight pops us up, instantly gets destroyed.
Yep. It got taken right out just before he could even finishing it.
Ult's coming out from both sides. Red's going to come in though onto Zedi Midnight. Cole is going to put down the amplification field and going to use it to take out the Roadhog of XCE. Amplification field is going to come out on the opposite side now for Reminisce. Zedi Midnight just spamming through. Huge EMP, 5-man EMP. Immortality field also
they're
down.
They're committing a lot into this. They really want to make this stop.
Prolegion trying to do everything to first hold right now. So much time already burnt off. The Clark Bastions each getting a pick. Zedi Midnight's going to lose his life. The Death Pool is also going to pick off the Orisa.
Barely alive there. Does D-Mac.
Oh, Prolegion. They do lose their Bastion though, in Gunner. So they've got to try and stuff as long as possible. The Rage tries to get in, but Stint kicks him off. They do get the rest onto Gunner.
It's not enough that he's still trying. He's firing. That Mercy's attached to him. This may be enough. And the field came out. Is that enough to make that hold? It looks like it was.
Fantastic pace from Prolegion. They just about get a body on the point in the end with the Diva Bomb. It kind of forces Reminiscent just to back off slightly off the point so they don't get the last meter that they needed to cap the point. In a strong position, Switch is coming out.
Prolegion was able to get that Valkyrie back as compared to on the other side. Jibri and Syndicate, neither of them have anything. That could make a big difference for this upcoming fight.
Dragon's going to come in from Libero here just across the point. Not going to do much, just get him off the point. Diva Bomb's going to go in with EMP. Diva Bomb's going to get no kills though for both those ultimates, and they forget to touch the point.
They didn't
no one could make it there from Reminisce. I think they was just scared of the Diva Bomb EMP combo.
There was too many ults being thrown in.
Down.
Prolegion just really won that ult economy. Prolegion just really kept themselves ahead in that ult economy, and you know, look at how far they have to get it. That's really winnable. I mean,
on Juggertown, when you're looking at that's 2, maybe 3 fights if there's a last-minute contested Reminiscent to regroup quick enough. The advantage there for Prolegion Gaming and why they was able to hold that was how far forward they took that first attack. We saw them hold him in spawn for about 1:20 it was in the end, before Reminiscent even made it out spawn to start their actual progress on the payload. It wouldn't surprise me right now. We mentioned about the GOAT's composition. I don't know if Reminisce is going to come out of the GOAT's composition now because there's impact ultimates which you can have at first glance. It looks like they are going to come out on the floats composition, not the GOATs. They're going to have the Winston instead of the Reinhardt, at least at first glance.
Yeah, I think they're going to stick with that. I don't see they're going to try and get a Winston out there and come back late. It looks like on the other side they're going to try that pirate ship, which maybe not. Maybe maybe Cole with that and that barrier will be really what saves them versus GOATs, and we'll have to see where that takes them.
It doesn't surprise me too much here though that Reminisce are going for this first composition with when you have to do such a defense by able to build up those ultimates. They're more reliable than you would be if you did run your own bunker because it can be pitched apart a lot easier. So it doesn't surprise me they're going for this GOAT's composition. Looks like they're going to be scouted though by Skip on the Sombra. I think they've already found them. They're already looking at them in the room. They know they're there. Early Immortality field goes down, it's just focused down. Gunner's instantly going to be killed by Libero on that Pegida representing New York Excelsior there. But they are going to lose their main tank. The Winston is down and the D-Mex on Zed. I mean, like, this is a nightmare right now.
Yeah, this is...
Prolegion obviously have a massive spawn advantage as well.
GT, the loss
right
goes
now,
down.
Reminisce just need to die. Reminisce need to try and regroup or just die on point right now. Amplification field is going to come out after the fight's kind of over, maybe a bit of a waste.
So fast did that come out, and that just gives them the opportunity to clean that up.
Reminiscent, they know they're going to get at least 1 more fight, potentially 2 if they are quick enough to reset. Deathball's just going to jump off just to get his mech back, as he's very close to getting his Diva Bomb.
does have that Graviton Surge. That may make the difference here depending on what they can do with it.
But it's going to have to make this difference because Simp has the EMP, so it's got to go for the EMP. Grabs out, Amplification field also out, Immortality field. 2 people are down outside the Prolegion. Right now, you probably take that Prolegion. You know you've got over 2 minutes and a half left. You've got a lot of used any, and Reminisce on defense have used their main weapon there in the Graviton Surge.
Yeah, you really just traded, and you didn't. If you weren't really looking, you might have noticed now that Prolegion did come into a couple more ults. So really, in the economy, they're coming up way ahead. They have a lot of tools to use that can just get them through this last bit,
including the EMP bomb. The combo was enough to scare Reminisce off touching the point in overtime on their defense. Maybe they can use it attacking for the attack round here.
Here comes the bomb.
D-Bomb's going to come in. It's actually away from everyone, so EMP is not committed. Now the EMPs are committed. Hits with 4, but Jobury's going to come in on that Transcendence. He hides away, but Zedar Midnight's going to still die. Bomb Ghost is going to go out for GTA. The last Gunner's going to get the... It's going to fill that. It's going to take out the Zarya. Stimp's going to lose his life though to Jubari, sorry, who's trying his best on this Zenyatta to carry right now, but will lose his life to Deathball.
Gunner's hanging in there.
Set up a point. He's just swinging around, just shooting for fun. No one's questioning right now. Sound barrier comes out. Sound barrier comes out for Reminisce here. Diva Bomb's just going to go out, but he's kicked off before he can get back in mech by Gunner right now. Massive disadvantage for Reminisce.
Like they're going to push it in. They have to travel.
I don't think anyone could touch. There's a Tracer now come back in. Jibber's switched over from the same just to get back. Libero stayed on his Brigitte to get back. He's going to lose his life to the mech coming back down for Deathball. Gunner's got another tank form. And this is just a clean up right now by Prolegion. Bomb gets thrown off and that's going to be the end of it. Reminisce can't touch back.
That was, wow, that came down to a lot of just ultimates coming down into the end. A lot of the pressure against really kept them on their toes when they couldn't even play. They had to play so passively against that. And as you can see, Gunner is just really, he did his job on that Bastion.
I mean, this is a hectic fight when he's literally just shooting around. All you do is a Bastion, he gets another tank form.
And you can see it. For the first part of that, he was covered by the immortality field, and that was so important in these bunker comps, and that really just kept him alive.
I mean, that shows the story right there. 4 cards coming out for Prolegion Gaming.
Yeah. 17 EMPs. Wow, those are some very good EMPs out there. And there's every EMP was 4 or 5 men. So that Sombra Pit coming out, definitely a bit of a surprise in comparison, because normally you would see a Hanzo or a Junkrat, but the Sombra Pit definitely came in clutch at Prolegion, and Reminisce not looking like a team that you would expect to be 9-0. Maybe that break hasn't done them as well as it would do normally for teams. But it's only the first map. We're not gonna get too ahead of ourselves here, because I always say that, and then the next team always wins the second map and it gets an interesting series. So hopefully that will happen. It's also worth noting that coming into that kind of a matchup where you have that 3-3 coming into a bunker comp, that you're just at a disadvantage going into that when you don't have that immortality field, and that Bastion can just break through shields and can just put out more damage than you're healing. That's not a fight you can really win. Should have maybe sooner.
Yeah, you are correct. We did see with the hold that they took right at the spawn, they tried to do what Prolegion did to them, and they needed to do it to try and burn off the clock. We saw them. We saw the they got scouted by Stimpy on the Stomper. Again, huge praise by him on the Stomper to realise where they were. You saw the immortality field went down a little early for my liking, and instantly it was melted. And then Reminisce, they had the advantage of that fight. There was no immortality field, and all they had to do was just try and kill that Bastion. But in the process of destroying the immortality field, they lose the main tank. And then there's also a DMAC that comes in as well, and right there, that fight is lost. But instead of backing up, they decided to brawl it out on the point to try and stall for a few more seconds. But maybe Reminisce would have been better just backing up and waiting for the tanks to get back, because they were never going to win at that point. Realistically, a 4 versus 6, because Baby Diva is basically useless as a character, especially against a Bastion bunker comp. Kind of useless, really, because there's no defense matrix.
You have no defense matrix. You're out your bubble, which is your Winston bubble, which is a very big tool about even just keeping your healing from that Bastion. And once you kind of lose that one, the right answer maybe was to back out and just let them have the space. Take the ult charge you've got. Don't feed it into theirs, because with how quickly Cole the Crazy was really getting those power up rectangles, it just didn't make anything easier for them. And then throw the Bastion into that and let him have free reign, and that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, it's absolutely huge recipe, and it's with the added with the addition, I should say, of Baptiste, we have seen bunker compositions coming back a lot stronger than they ever was before, because there's no other ability in the game like Baptiste. There's no other ability at all which is anywhere near it. So having that immortality field it certainly does enable a bunker comp to do so much. There was a game recently, which I casted, but where a team did run the Baptiste, but they ended up losing because they ran Baptiste Mercy and the other team ran Zenyatta Mercy. So even though they did have the amplification field for the Bastion, they didn't have the Zenyatta Transcendence to keep them alive over the longer fight. So it's interesting to see how, you know, they're going for a Baptiste Mercy comp, and they're actually making it work, and it's the first time I've seen it actually work that well, especially.
So we're heading into Nepal next, and this is always an interesting thing. We've already seen goats come out from one side. Is it possible we see more? Maybe we see, you know, this is an okay map for Afara too. You can kind of get a little bit of a different thing, and we did see ZR Midnight with Afara come out, so maybe we'll see some of that this time. It really kind of depends on what Reminisce feels is their strong points for this.
Well, yeah, it was an interesting switch because he switches to the Pharaoh like in sort of like the last 15 seconds from the Bastion. I don't know if he was trying to get to the point quicker rather than going to something like a Tracer or a Genji, which probably would have been quicker. But we do have to mention there has been a sub here for Reminisce as well, which we did notice. So we now have Yazizi. Or
I think it's Yazi.
Yazi is now coming in, but he came for the main tank from the last map of Junkertown.
Yes.
So that is a very interesting substitution. You seem to be bringing in a sort of DPS/support player for your main tank. So maybe Reminisce didn't actually have their full 6-man roster for that first round of Junkertown.
It's very possible that could have been anything, or perhaps they're just looking for their a good tank player to kind of carry that Brigitte role, who does kind of function as a tank at some point. But it's really interesting. You're gonna have to keep an eye on Stimp on that Reaper, because that's going to be a big. But
this is a composition that's not been seen for a while. It's the old May Reaper.
Yeah.
It's a diva.
I think
it's normally Batman Ryan Zarya normally, but Cole's going to lose his life to that charge. Huge amount of healing's down right now, and that's fight over.
Yeah, and Libero just is, you can see him glowing there, and he just managed to build that charge very quickly against that that double DPS, and it's just, there was not enough isolation there, and it's hard to do that versus that Ghost.
So Switch is coming in now, Warlock Tail switching off the Mercy to go to the Moira. It's a better choice, need more healing. I may have just mentioned, XCE has already got his Earth Shatter. That's how much damage he did in that last fight there.
Yeah, he really just put in a lot of swings, and you can see it. He's already ready, he's looking for it. And ZR Midnight literally coming in behind.
All the Shatter lands with 3. The wall wasn't the best, so I'm gonna...
No. Okay. GTA they lost this going down, and it looks like this is just gonna be cleanup at this point. They got the rally, they're just gonna clean this right up. I think this is maybe where Reminisce was trying to get to before. Their Ghost is looking significantly better. Maybe this changes what they needed.
Potentially, yeah, but 2 ultimates were committed into that team fight, but you know, they got a fight win out of it, so that would be the main thing right now. They won't be moaning that much. Obviously, we're still approaching 50%. Switch is coming in now. Stimp and gonna switch off the Reaper May and go to a Hanzo with a Pharaoh Mercy. So Warlock Town now re-switches back onto the Mercy from the Moira, so loses that ult charge. The problem right now for Prolegion Gaming is 60% on the point, and they haven't built up a single. Oh, and again, it's another pin. Charge coming in by XE.
And they had to commit that round.
Oh, you've just cut out for me. Stall going to coming out onto Deathpool here. Actually gets back in mech and then gets almost gets pinned back out, but decides to fly into the middle of the team rather than away. Shatter's going to be coming out, connects with 3. XCE just cleaning up right now, and it's going to be over 90%. And the issue right now for Prolegion Gaming is they've got a few ultimates, yes, but can they even touch the point right now? Early Dragon's going to be just going across by Stim. Someone needs to get to this point for them right now. It doesn't look like anyone's only going to make it, and they won't. Libero did have the Graviton Surge as well.
Unlucky right there. I mean, as well as Prolegion played on Junkertown, right? One of the things you guys talked about is Reminisce coming on this Goats, just so strong here. And I think a lot of that has to do with map geography, right? Like, Nepal plays very differently than Junkertown. There are those wide open spaces you can really take advantage of on Junkertown. And Nepal is going to force you into some very, very tight corridors that are very, very Goats friendly. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this continue. And it looks like it is.
So, interesting coming out by Prolegion.
Yo, I'm excited for it though, man. Anytime I get to see the hamster on stream, No, Death Ball, the debate.
No, they changed it. It's going to be a well, it's a free, but it's a Family Mercy Goats, whatever you want to call that. But it's going to be just straightforward Weaver Goats going to be coming out now for the Reminisce. There we go. Forgot their team name for a second there. I do apologise. Again, XCE. I'm just going to call him for short. Instantly get to pick on GTA the last. Res comes in, but they lose Stimp in the meantime. Yazi doing really doing really good work on Pagitas. He's been subbed in. They're definitely looking very strong on his Goats composition right now, Reminisce. And maybe that was the issue about Junkertown. It's not a very Goats favourable map. It can be played, but it doesn't really suit the Goats that much until you get to the third point, really. In my opinion, that's where it's at its best.
And it also seems as though that substitution did make a difference for them. Yazi really is just putting in very good work on that Brigitte.
And welcome back to the casting. To my co-host. Welcome back after that bit of the connection issue, but you know what? You didn't miss much of this put into over the first match. Shatter coming out by XC. Again, he lands a couple of people. He's been very consistent with those shatters, at least landing the 2 or 3 people every time. And he's already charged up to another one. He's already halfway to another one right now. So the aggression coming out right now.
That's the thing. If you can enable your Reinhardt, he can be a very big tool for damage, and just he gathers his ult so quickly.
He's literally almost got another shatter. He's at 85%, 90%. He's about to get another shot to just committing it. The aggression coming out right now by Reminisce. I don't think Prolegion are expecting it. There is the shatter as soon as I mention it. It connected to this time. GTA the last will pop his primal rage, but he's just going to get burnt down and not going to get any value out of that ultimate whatsoever. Right now, Reminisce looking extremely dominant so far in the poll.
Yeah. This is quite a change from the first game we're seeing. That's for certain.
And they have the grab bomb combo still. They have so many ultimates in the bank to hold this.
Yeah. Really, just the threat of that being available is enough to really just keep that pressure on them too.
Both grabs and searches coming out. Both Barrages, Coalescence. A bunch of ults being used here, but 2 kills going to go in the favour of Prolegion, but a lot of ults being committed from both teams. Late Coalescence though, calling in by Jibori. Maybe you want that one back sooner rather than later. And it looks like Prolegion Gaming are finally going to get some progress on this point. GTA the last, have to mention, switch over to the Reinhardt from the Winston after using his Palm Rage there. He's halfway to another shot, but XCE 80% to another one. And finally, Prolegion Gaming are going to get some progress on the control map of Nepal. It's the first time they've actually taken the point. So let's see if they can hold on to it. They don't have any ultimates though to use, unlike Reminisce, who are coming in with a few.
And it's very possible that Reminisce can just take it right back over it, and that's the really difficult thing about this, is that when Ghost has that ability to kind of just keep it right back and just take control of it.
Well, as soon as you mention that, they just get back on the point and they just steamroll right through. They pick off Cole, so the Lucia falls to Prolegion Gaming, and they lose the speed boost, so they can't back out. They retake the point instantly, and just like that, in a blink, Nepal goes to Reminisce. Yes, Reminisce.
Yeah,
and that team looked a lot more solid. That looked like the team that is a 9-0.
This is a different team. I don't know what needed. Maybe it was just Yazi. Maybe it was just the one thing. But this is a very different team from what we saw at Junkertown.
See, I always make a statement, and if anyone knows me, if anyone's a consistent viewer of me and CGR, I always do say a substitution can never make that much of a difference. I've always said it in every game I've ever casted. When subs are made and they end up losing that map after the sub comes in, and even after the sub comes in and they win a map, I always say the sub difference. Something else has gone wrong. Something else has gone right there for the team. But I have to hold my hands up right now because that substitution has just came in clutch right there for Reminisce. They looked a miles better team on the pole. But I do have to think they were able to play the GOATS composition on those maps. They look like a very heavy GOATS sort of team. They struggled on Junkertown when they weren't able to play the GOATS composition fully. Obviously, they played it on their defense, but they were playing against a bunker composition, which is a little bit harder to play a GOATS composition against in comparison to a matchup.
It really is. It is. Optimus, can you get me back in, please? That would also be nice. I lost the I got out for a minute. Can you send me an invite, please, just really quickly? I hate to interrupt it, but
I don't have your edit.
I will find you. I will find you then. It's the joys of Okay, thank you. But yeah, as you were saying, thank you. But as you were saying, like that's the thing is a very good goats. That works. A very good goats team can just run and do well and can really take a lot of these. It's why it's still such a prevalent comp on these maps a lot of the time. But we'll have to see if that because clearly clearly Reminisce has been running this, so clearly we'll just have to see if this carries them, or if maybe they make any changes to it, because maybe they want to put somebody else in, maybe they want to get off of it. We'll have to see what really they think is the best idea. As we go to Volskaya too, there's a lot of options for non-goat stuff.
Well, yeah, you'd expect you've got 9-0 in a regular season. You have to expect that the team's been playing goats for the majority of those matches, if not all of them. And they've been extremely solid, obviously, in those competitions to not lose a single match, a single series, I should say. Obviously, they might have lost a match along the way, but they've not lost a whole series all season. And obviously, goats has been the meta for months now, basically almost since Brigitte was released, which was almost a year ago now, I believe. So you think they would have been more trained on the goats, and I think the issue for Reminisce was maybe the map pool there in Junkertown just didn't favour them. Maybe they weren't prepared, because Junkertown is one of the very few maps in the game where goats is not played 100% of the time, or 95% of the time, because obviously it's not 100% because it's not possible to be 100%.
Yo,
there's always one person who doesn't pick it.
I want to jump in there to say that either team wasn't prepared on Junkertown. I think is an understatement. Both of these teams full held .1, which is ludicrous on Junkertown. So I think they both,
especially at this level.
Yeah, man.
Especially at this level that we're at. Like, I fully expected to be talking about the U-turn on C. Like, that was a little bit of a crazy match on everybody's thing. Maybe it's just the early game, shakeups. We're getting into the semifinals. Maybe nerves are catching up. It's any number of things, but I fully agree with you there.
Well, I mean, it makes for an entertaining series first, because it means that we go to the fourth map at least.
Oh, absolutely.
Because we're leveled up right now. We're 1-1, and if you are Prolegion right now, after how hard you do have to admit, they kind of got a bit steamrolled there on the pole. Yeah. Maybe you do want to finish this on these next two maps and don't want to go to that tiebreaker map on Busan.
I think if you're Prolegion, I think if you're Prolegion, you want this done. You need to pull out all your best stops, and whatever those may be, you're gonna try and end this as quick as you can, because you don't want to see that game 5, I think.
And Volskaya Industries is obviously going to be our third map, and this is the same as any other 2CP map or assault map, whichever one you prefer to call it. Anything can really happen on these map types, and Volskaya is a perfect example. As you mentioned, there's a bunch of competitions that can be ran. Goats seem to be deciding on a lot more, but a lot more bunker has came into it as well. So it's going to be interesting.
There's also been a lot of Sombra. I mean, there's a lot of places you can get around and maybe make that flank. So maybe if you're Prolegion, you bring in whatever your Sombra is, and you try to take away that bunker comp. But it's hard. There's a lot of things. You could even pull out a Widowmaker and try and take those angles. Who knows? We'll have to see.
Well, we've had a side switch for the new viewers tuning in, if you have just joined. So now Prolegion Gaming are now going to be on attack first. And Reminisce are going to be on defense. And we did mention about Sombra. You just mentioned her. Yeah. Stimp was the person who played Sombra for Prolegion Gaming on Junkertown. So potentially they are going to stick with this composition, but I don't know if they're going to run those tanks.
I mean, unless maybe they could be expecting anything else. Maybe you're just focusing on getting that pick. They could be expecting that goats again, and maybe they're trying to prepare for that.
Potentially, yes. On defense, though, this composition is locked in now for Reminisce. It's too late to go back to spawn and switch. They're going to be coming out with a triple support, but with dive tanks and Libra on the McCree, so no Zarya.
But that's a pretty common thing. They're trading the Zarya for that McCree, who can just, who's that anti-Sombra, who is going to keep an eye out for Stimp on that Sombra. So just let's watch
as well
that.
as good on the Farah as well. as well as Gunnar on the Pharah, Mercy as well. And they are sticking to these tanks compositions now, Prolegion. They are going to come forward with this Sarissa Hog. They get straight up point. Nice early hack though coming on to XC. He's going to be focused down easily.
Yes, and that may be already point A. We'll have to see what happens there, because with the Winston down, not much else he can do.
Oh, they're going to use GTA the last though, but his respawns are a lot closer.
Yeah, and
Libero is just free firing right now on this high ground. I don't think Gunnar is aware he's there. They eventually will acknowledge the fact that he's there after Cole will go down, but Alicia is going to go back quickly. Just like that, first point is going to be capped.
I don't know what they were expecting that they ran the Orisa. You know, it almost, that was a very death ball. You know, Rhines. They could have almost just kept the Rhine. They moved so quickly onto the point, just asserted their space there and said, no, this is ours. We're gonna just put ourselves right here.
And we have to look at this time bank, by the way, just under 7 minutes of this game, and Stimp has already built up an EMP in that first fight. In fact, it's the first ultimate on board from both teams is this EMP.
XL is already, and XL's already down. He was just getting bothered by Stimp on that Sombra, and they're just focusing him right out.
A tick already taken for free. Zedai Midnight's going to drop now. When's Stim going to use this EMP? This is going to be essentially going to wait it. He gets stunned out. He's going to use it
right
before he gets hit by the headshot. Libero will take him out. Bunch of ults being committed here. 2 ticks already taken.
And there's 5 down on the side. Wow. What a very
I don't think anyone could touch.
What a
over
decisive
6 minutes.
Man. That was a very just decisive, wow. We are seeing a lot of very clear messages as we go into these games, and I'm wowed by that.
I think we might have to get confirmation in terms of record time set in CGL.
Yeah,
over
6 minutes and
6
minutes and 7 seconds left on the bank. That was exceedingly quick.
I mean, we mentioned going into the game that Prolegion Gaming, you probably want to end this series as quickly as you possibly can. And they just sent a huge message there with that time. Yeah. I mean, you do have to put the mention to Stimp on that Sombra, having the first ultimate out of 12 people. So the first ultimate being the EMP.
Well, Stimp just literally would not leave XL alone. He was the first person that bothered. He took away the shield right away and just got his charge right off of that. And that's so important for a Sombra to get that charge right away, even if they. And it's funny, you would think maybe they even need the EMP to take point 1, but no, they just cleared XL right out and just moved right in.
Just like that, they're going to be coming out on defense with a similar composition to what they ran on Junkertown. It's going to be identical, apart from Cole's going to be on the Lucio now rather than the Baptiste, which he was on Junkertown, if memory does serve me right. And it looks like if Reminisce do stay on this, we could be seeing some quad DPS, people.
It looks like I think they're going to stay on that quad DPS. Excel and that Hammond. Maybe this is the secret that they've been holding on to. We'll have to see. And Gibbery on that Sombra could make the difference too.
And Zedai Midnight over to that Pharaoh, which we did see glimpses of for the last 20 seconds of Junkertown. Looks like they are staying on it.
They're going to run this quad DPS. We're going to see what happens. They're going to pressure him off that high ground using Excel and just then they're just going to come right in.
Well, no immortality field on the defense team might cause a problem. They are going to lose XL though to Gunnar on the Bastion. I think Hammond's trying to knock them down. The issue with this, they have so much DPS, they could just break the shield very quickly.
He tried to come in
as well.
He tried to come in and apply that pressure, but it just wasn't. It didn't displace enough, and instead he just got focused right out. They really need to utilize that Sombra and just kind of keep their attention in different ways. They're really not pulling that different attention. They're finally forcing him down off that high ground though, and that may be their moment.
Cole's going to take out Jibbery though, right at the back there to Sombra, but they are going to lose Deathball's mech. So they also sacrifice the Tiff, and Cole's actually going to go down to Libero on the Ash here. He's going to get res back up by Warlock. Bit of a risky res there to do quite far in the open against all these DPS heroes, but he gets it off in time. The Infosite's going to come out.
Yazi does have those sights. We'll see if that makes any difference or if it's nothing. Walnut Tail did have and is using their Valk. We'll see if maybe that's the difference. I think they're going to try and save what they can get. Maybe just hold on to that. Sunike may hold on to that Valk just for next fight and maybe cut your losses and try for next time.
Looks like there's a Mercy 1v1 going on in the background there between Warlock tail, and soon, okay, hopefully we got that on camera. I think I have been sacrificed here for Prolegion Gaming by winning this bunker comp, but right now Yahtzee's Yahtzee is going to make the switch to the Hanzo off the window after using sights. Both EMPs probably going to be online for this next team fight. 2 minutes down, early form going to be coming out from Gunner here. Though. Interesting choice, potentially just trying to just delay for some extra time for Stimp to build up this EMP. Bob's going to be throwing out, Barrage going to be used
at hit 5.
EMP.
And that could be it. That might be it right there. That was enough. They're 4 down. And it looks like it's just cleanup here. And they didn't even actually spend that Valkyrie, so they may be able to hold on to it and go forward. That may be the snowballing factor. But when you look at Stimp with that EMP, that may just cut it right down depending on what they try to do.
Yeah, they have EMP bomb here, Prolegion Gaming, to stop the snowball. 3 ultimates had to be committed though, to take the first point there. You do mention that they do hold on to some ultimates, the Valkyrie being one of them and the Mines being the other. But I don't think that's going to be enough for Reminisce just to snowball in here. They're going to lose Libya as well. Hack's going to come into Deathball, he's just going to get farmed down. GTA Lost is going to pop the bongos.
Finally taken out.
But Gunner's going to take out ZR Midnight in the meantime, and that bongos is going to be enough for Reminisce to back off, especially with that loss.
Yeah, they committed in that Valkyrie. Sundike committed in that Valkyrie, and it just wasn't enough to keep everybody alive. They were smart enough to keep the mines, but I just don't know if you want that Hammond mine here, the minefield here. You do stand a really good chance to maybe break up that bunker comp if you can get it there, but I don't know. Maybe you give this up and try to do it. They're gonna push. They're trying to push into it.
To mention it, there goes the Hammond mine. The sandbag is going to come in by coal just so they can get actually through it. But they are going to lose GTA. The loss. He goes the wrong way round. Trying to get back to point. Bob's going to come out. EMP comes in by Stimp though.
It was a little messy there for a minute because they committed both Sound Barrier and Valkyrie, and that they needed to stagger those a little bit more. Maybe they can hold it a little bit. It paid off okay, but they needed to stagger those a little bit more for a more decisive hold.
Well, they've been able to hold the point thanks to using his ultimates, and again, look at the time bank. Under 4 minutes now. Yahtzee's going to throw out another dragon here, I should say, not Graviton Surge. I don't know that dragon comes all the way from spawn, I think, in the end. Maybe that's a dragon to switch, potentially.
Yeah, was that a no?
He won't lose his life to Stimp though before it can switch. Stimp's going to pick up another kill there. Flagging out on this Sombra right now, trying to get another EMP. Look how much charge he just got, but they are going to lose Cole to Libero, who's on this Ash. He's building up to his buff, he's almost got one every single fight so far, but he goes extremely low. Red's going to be coming in again by Warlock Tail, who's going to lose his life. ZR Midnight right now kind of being a little bit ignored by Prolegion Gaming, but Warlock Tail will respawn quite quickly and very close to the second point.
And Yahtzee chose to stay on the Hanzo, so I'm not sure what he was trying to do with those dragons. Maybe he's trying to throw off something with timing, maybe try and preempt them and force them out, but didn't seem like a smart decision there.
Well, right now, Stimp gets hacked. That's a huge hack. Stimp had EMP, he gets hacked. They have to throw out the dragons and the bongos of GTA The Lost just to be able to hold the point for a little bit longer while this EMP gets back. Bob's going to be thrown in by Libero, and Gunner's just going to take out Libero with the Storm Arrow. I was about to mention before that, but I feel now Reminisce are probably going to take one more fight with this composition with the EMP and then switch on to probably a go-to position of themselves.
Oh!
Yeah, looks like they lose this as the hack comes in.
No, Midnight goes down with Barrage. That could have been so big.
The Mines is going to come out. That looks like probably a switching ult coming in there by XC.
I think you're giving
As you can see, the switch is already being made. Midnight Barrage in spawn and make the switch over to Moira.
And it looks like they're going to try some last-minute Goats variant with that Sombra. I think this maybe needed to come a little sooner. Yeah, I think this may needed to come sooner.
I think so. They've burnt off a lot of time off the clock. Still have a decent time of 2 minutes to be able to build up the ults, and they have the EMP opener. But Stimp also has the counter early.
The EMP coming in though,
out by Stimp.
Too much.
So I mean, it's going to fall. Stimp's going to get 2. Again, Deathball throws out the selfish shot, doesn't actually get any kills, but it's more of a zoning ultimate potentially. Gunner is going to get a triple kill with the help of the Sombra.
It was enough, and Gunners is really just excelling here, especially given that they can't touch him.
Yeah, no direct counter for Gunner. They do hold on to the EMP, so that will be the opener for this next fight, Reminisce.
Cole needs to make sure that he's away. They have to know that he has that EMP. So he has to just keep his space and try to avoid it so he can come in and cover it. Otherwise, this
Stimp
is
again in the back line, trying to cause issues. Gets Zedar Midnight really low. Actually gets hacked into Libero as well. Libero is dead. The hack was huge. No personal bubbles. The EMP is going to come in.
Cole did manage to keep himself out there. He managed to.
The problem.
And that may be the it. That may be it.
I'm sorry to talk over you there. The problem with that EMP is they were down 2 when he pops the ult. The Zarya being one of them. So they're one of the main down there. I know he's making the switch to D.Va now, but Stimp's going to have another EMP. They're going to have 3 ults at least on this defense, 4 with a Valkyrie.
Yeah,
I don't know why that EMP was used, and there's an argument that Cole could have saved that sound barrier.
Yeah, I mean, he argued. Well, it's tough to tell. I mean, he committed it. Was it the safe play? Yes, but you never know.
And now you see Zedar Midnight making the switch to the D.Va, and Jibui's gone to the Moira, so they've lost
and
what they have there.
Excel has to make this shatter count.
Huge hack.
No, but the
5-man hack from Stimp.
Huge EMP. And that's so huge. There's 3 down, 4 down. It looks like that just is a decisive point on that attack. Oh no, the team wipe too. Oh, that's a statement at the end of that. Oh wow.
Prolegion Gaming was coming out with a ridiculous time on their attack and a very solid defense there on the second point.
Yeah.
And I think part of it had to be down to Stimp being back on the Sombra, who's going to get play in the game as well. It's no surprise. There it is, 5-man EMP. Absolutely huge EMP.
And that just cleaned it up. All after that, after didn't have anything else left. There was nothing else they could do after that 5-man EMP came in.
Absolutely huge Sombra plays. And just before that, the fight before, when the EMP was used, the EMP was used by Dribble before he made the switch, you did see Stimp, he was in the back lines just trying to get EMP. He pressures Zedar Midnight, who was on the Zen. He then gets the hack onto Libero, who's playing the Zarya, and they pick off the Zarya. And straight away at that point, that fight is over. You're down your Zarya, you're down one of your main damage dealers. I think the Reinhardt falls shortly afterwards, and then they commit the EMP. It's a massive mistake from Reminisce there, you have to say. And even after that, you see Dribble switches to the D.Va originally, but then he goes to the Moira, and Midnight gives up the charge which he had to a Transcendent to go onto the D.Va. And he gets the kill at the end onto Gunner's barrage because he does it right in his face. But they give up halfway to an ultimate. They easily could have got that Transcendence up as well, save the EMP, going into that last fight. They needed the ultimates, and they just didn't have it because Prolegion, they hold on to the ultimates. They had 3, and all they needed was 1 as an EMP, as we just saw in that play of the game there. And they take a 2-1 lead.
Yeah, this has been such a back and forth game that, you know, it's so hard to tell. Usually, you know, you might see, you know, we've seen very dominating performances from both teams. So who knows what's coming next? Are we going to see another? Is this going to be, you know, are we just going to pass this back to Game 5? Are we going to see, you know, what else can we possibly see that would make this such a better game?
I think what everyone would like to see right now, myself included, is Stimp on Sombra. That guy seems to be hard carrying Prolegion right now on Junkertown. We saw his impact on Sombra, which helped them first hold. And no doubt about it, on Volskaya Industries there, his Sombra play was insane. As I mentioned, on their attack, he had the first ultimate on board from both teams. EMP is it is a fast charging ultimate when you do consistent damage, but it's not easy to be the first person from all the players to get that ultimate, and that's all they need is snowball into second, and he was on point with those EMPs. I think every single one of them connected with 2 or 3 members, and he just won a team fight instantly. And Reminisce, they didn't adapt. They didn't have a defensive ultimate against the EMP, and you saw Prolegion had the defensive ultimate of Cole on the Lucio.
Yeah. And they carried that very well. They kept a good track of when that was coming in, and even though they had their own Sombra, they couldn't, you know, they couldn't just carry that and keep that same pressure. Excel just kept getting bullied almost around by Stimp. A lot of the time you would just see him fall, and that would almost just let anything, you know, that would almost be the end of it right there, with nothing to really keep him up. You know, maybe that's something you look forward is to maybe work your lines differently and try to keep Excel, you know, safer. And as we go into Eichenwald,
also have to mention.
Go right ahead.
Sorry to interrupt. We did attention to it as well with Reminisce. They stayed on that 4 DPS comp for a really long time. And you do have to maybe ask the question, if they'd made those switches earlier, we saw how dominant they were on the GOATS competition on the pole, that maybe that fight would have been a lot different on that second point. So I think they're going to regret when they look back, sticking on that triple DPS for so long, because it just wasn't working. There wasn't enough point presence.
GOATS, and that's the thing, is that GOATS is a very snowbally comp itself. It may not come out strong and you might give up something for it, but once you get rolling with it, you can just take over fights and plow through teams. And maybe taking it too longer, 2 fights gives you 2 minutes left on the clock, gives you a couple fights for it. But I think we really need to see that very dominant GOATS come out here on Eichenwald for them.
I mean, Prolegion Gaming, we mentioned as we went into Volskaya, they probably want this series done as quick as possible because they might not want to play on Busan again after how dominant Nepal was.
Oh no.
But Reminisce right now, we still have to remember, these guys are unbeaten in the regular season. They're at 9-0. So not only is a place in the grand finals at stake here, their reputation you'd have to say is on stake, because Prolegion Gaming, fair enough, they finished quite high in the standings themselves, but they'd lost this game in the regular season against Resident. No.
I was gonna say this GM tier. Remember, this is a paid tournament. There's $1,500 on the line right now, 1,500.
Yeah.
So there's a lot at stake, and I mean, Reminisce has shown that they can do it. Right, they can dig deep. So I'm excited to see what happens here, man. Eichenwald, one of my favorite maps, especially now after the rework with the little doorway on the left side. So
yes,
there's a lot of options here, man. They got options.
Yeah, and well, it looks like
do it, Gunnar. No, okay.
I mean, Gunners has been very good on that Pharah. This is a point A is always a very good spot for this Pharah, and we'll see maybe we'll see some Gunners just kind of holding it down there. And Stimp on the Reaper was an interesting choice in the beginning. I almost kind of want to say, why break a good thing? You had a fantastic run on Sombra. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I mean, he played Reaper on the pole to very limited success, we do have to be honest. The reason why I said do it Gunnar was because Gunnar was on Doomfist. I would have loved to have seen some Doomfist actually.
I would have loved to see that Doomfist.
It was so fun yesterday seeing Doomfist being played. It's good to see him back in the net, even though I absolutely hate playing against him. He's a fun hero to watch.
He's always a pleasure to watch. But it
looks Libro's just going to take up Gunnar on the fire. We've got Fire Mercies from both sides
got picked
here.
Out right away.
And Yaxi's on the Widow, picks him up again.
He is just carrying through that. Wow. And they made very sure Gunners was taken down and then rezzed and then immediately retaken down. They realized what was quickly needed to happen.
And instantly the switches happens. Gunnar goes off the Pharah to the Hanzo, and Stimpy's going to go to the Widowmaker off the Reaper. Gunnar's going to take out Yahtzee. He pushed up a little too far there.
Just hey, I'm not a fan of. Hey, don't bully me. Don't let that happen. I can play this too. And man, I mean, they were very decisive. They came right in, took an aggressive stance versus that, and this Orisa is very good.
What is ZR Midnight? What the hell was he doing? He was in the middle of the entire team there. It's a really late stagger pick coming in by Prolegion Gaming, and Libero has now made the switch onto the Hunters. So we have double snipers on both sides. Not surprising. Second point of alcohol very good for the snipers due to all the high ground which is available. Yazi does have a serious attack that he has the sight and he pops it instantly.
So we'll see if the...
Whoa, GTN, the last goes flying in the air.
That was pretty high up there, yeah. That was a pretty high up there.
As he lands, he's going to pop the bongos back down and going to give damage boost to everyone on Prolegion. It's going to be destroyed though by Jibbery. They're going to commit the Val as well. Deathfall's going to get hooked in and he loses, but Gunner's going to take out Yahtzee.
And Gunnar is just going to go ahead and keep putting some arrows out there. And Stimp is not Stimp showing he's no slouch on that Widow.
And Zedar Midnight again commits his whole hog at the end of the fight after so many are dead. And he hasn't got out and he's getting staggered again. And Stimp's already built up enough insight and that's how he picks off Libero there.
That late stagger for the Hanzo is just gonna make it a little harder. Although he does have those dragons, so maybe he can draw some space out. Could force out that sound barrier from Cole. There it is.
There is the AO Dragon. Had to mention now Deathball's med switch onto the hog from the D.Va, so we actually have identical compositions now from both teams. Sandbag's going to come in by Cole, they're going to get aggressive, but the Bongo is just going to go back down, and Ghibli is going to also commit his Sandbag to go forward. Libero is going to get picked onto GTA the Lost with that damage boost. The main tank is now down, but Stim is going to equal it by taking out.
Gotten in the back line, taken out, and is just trying to make those shots. But Walnut
Tail went for a very risky raise and got punished by Libero with that Stormbird. Gunner's going to also commit this Dragon.
Yeah.
He's the only one left. He gets 2 picks before he dies. Quite big plays from Gunner on
a nice
the Hunter.
parting gift, but not enough. Yeah, a nice parting gift, but just not enough. And we'll see if they're. I think they're gonna try to make that contest. Yep, there it is. They're popping out in that corner. They're gonna try to hold it just over the bridge. Oh, that Arista is going
goes crazy again. This bridge is obviously really good. So environmental kills, as soon as I mentioned that, Cole Crazy takes off Zedar Midnight. The Roadhog is down, and all the Mercy's also going to fall.
That whole hog might have been enough to maybe change something, and with Syndicate down, that may not enough. Almost with, especially with Valkyrie, but it looks like they're gonna give up. They're gonna finally cut their losses, and kind of give it back.
I think Cole's taking some lessons from Toby there with that boot. This bridge right now is hell for boots. Orisa, Hog, and there is also a Lucio to worry about. Dribbly's making the switch now onto the Zen from the Lucio. Dragons is going to go out. Yahtzee's also going to pop.
Little odd, little too far down, but Stimp trying to just keep him honest across the bridge there.
We have to remember that's not the first time that Libro's just thrown out a dragon, kind of just randomly.
Yeah.
But Yahtzee's going to pick on Stimp. He's going to get rest. Oh, Deathball gets hooked in. The sound barrier is too late to keep him alive. Walnut Tail go for a bit of DPS with the Valkyrie active, but decides against it. It goes back to heal GTA, who's the remaining tank. The Orisa gets pulled off GTA. Huge pull.
That's a big pull. That might change this around. It looks like they're going to try and push up, and they're just going to take it back.
They're just going to clear up. Stim gets 2 picks off screen. One of them with a Venom Mine onto Libero. Huge plays coming by Stim on the Widow.
Very good flank all the way around, just using that to come up on the bridge and around and just make those picks. And just even harassing them as they're coming up, just not giving them that space. How long do you stay on this? I mean, this is a very interesting mirror, but how long do you stay on this?
Well, Jimmy's made the decision to switch from the Lucio to the Zen, but it hasn't even built up close to a Transcendence yet. Oh, that's a huge hook. Death falls off. They do kill Libero though, Stim, who also pops the Infosight. They're going to have to go a bit huge here. Libero just going to get res. Zedar Midnight almost gets picked up, but was able to walk back on. Gunner's going to take out Yahtzee though, and oh god, the Mercy falls. Stim. The double snipers coming in huge right now for Prolegion. Both of them getting picks. All the supports are down.
Deathball has just been holding that whole hog for so long. I don't know what's going on with that, if he's waiting for the right moment, but both of these hogs are actually just holding for quite some time. And but Stim gets picked right away.
They're just going to raise him. Probably getting a little bit too aggressive there, a little bit too confident. We've seen him and Gunner on that last fight. Single-handedly just carried there as double snipers. A lot of ultimates going to be available. Almost 6 it's going to be now for Reminisce as they push in on this final attack. We'd have to say for second point.
This is where they have to use it. They have to make every single one of those count.
Libero Dragon's just going to come across on the right-hand side, split them up. Oh, the whole hog gets cancelled by Zedar Midnight. It gets cancelled. The Bongos is down. But Gunner's going to take out Libero. Skip's going to lose his life. He's going to get res back up by Warnock. Gunner's actually going to fall to Ghibli. Trance going to be committed by Ghibli now, just on the point. Skip's going to take out Mercy though in the meantime, but there's a halt. GTA losses off the map. The fight is not over yet. Yahtzee's going to pick off Stim.
Libero does swap to the Tracer, going to try and rush himself back alive.
Advantage is definitely for Prolegion Gaming because they have closer respawns. Reminisce though falling out as much as they possibly can. Huge boot. Ghibli is down. Cole gets the boot, and he pops over the sound barrier as well.
He does get it, and Ghibli goes over the ledge.
Yeah, Gunner comes back on the Tracer himself. Will pick it off WX on the Orisa. Just get res back up, but eventually he's just going to lose his life again.
Libero pull the crazy though. That's so big. That's so
gets
big.
The pulse bomb. The Lucio is down, but it's not going to be enough, and eventually Prolegion Gaming.
And that's really with Walnut Tail and Cold Crazy down, there was just nothing they could do to sustain there. No matter what they threw at it, they were doing okay. One supports. Oh man, what a battle at the end there.
So Prolegion Gaming, they know exactly what they need to do now to win this series, and I'm gonna do a bit of an analogy here. This is actually the exact same situation which also happened on my stream yesterday. The team was 2-1 up, they got to that exact point and I evolved to hold, and they attacked and they won. So advantage is definitely for Prolegion Gaming right now. The win condition is set. They know if they take 2 points, should have to stay if Eichenwald, they will win the series and progress through to the grand finals and knock out the unbeaten team as well.
And what a moment that would be coming. You know, that's a story for literally the ages. You come up against the NYXL of the console league and you take them down, and you know that's so much confidence going forward. It looks like both are gonna stay similar. We see the Yazi on the Ash, and maybe that's, you know, over the Hanzo. Maybe there's some thoughts there, but it looks like Gunners is gonna stay on that Pharah. That was such a very good character. That's such a good hero for him. He's been doing so exceedingly well.
Oh yes, please stay on the Stimp has gone to the Sombo. This does not surprise me that this call has been made, because how important EMP can be, especially in sort of a last-minute fight, as we saw on Volskaya. It does not surprise me that Prolegion Gaming are going back to this Tower Mercy Somber comp.
Yes, I think if you're Prolegion, this is the call you were waiting to make for quite some time, and maybe you just couldn't get yourself to do.
Just put out in defense as well. Solo support as Ghibli is now back onto the Sombra, just like he was on Volskaya. Early hack coming from Stimp, and straight away Medtek's down. WX is going to fall again. Huge hacks, massive advantage right now for Prolegion Gaming.
Sierra Midnight, and with one support, you only get one res out of that, so we'll have to see where that comes in.
Ghibli just get a pick on to Gooder in the backline, but I don't think it's going to be enough as both tanks are down. There is going to be res though. ZR Midnight's going to be brought back, but Mercy's going to sacrifice their life for it.
Out though. With Stimp out halfway to there,
they're going to touch the point. ZR Midnight gets there right in the end. Spawn advantage definitely going to come in for Prolegion Gaming. The Mercy is currently down right now, remember, on the defense, and they're playing solar heals.
Oh, Cole's hack
going to come in by Libero.
Cole's hack just before getting that beat, and it's just too late.
They just about managed to get back in time to hold here. Look how close there was. 99.9%.
That is an incredible hold there. That really speaks to how quickly they just want this point.
Gunner's going to make the switch from the Pharah onto the Hanzo now. Other than that, everything's going to stay exactly the same for both teams. Jibro going to have the EP ahead of Stimpy.
You do have 3 ults on the side of Reminisce though. Oh, and
2 are down, 3 are down!
And 2, oh my gosh, 2 of them with ult. That could be too much right there. Deathball does show us why he was hanging onto that hog.
Oh, GTA the lost. Interesting choice to commit the bongos there after the fight had already been lost.
Very late. I think maybe he thought he needed it. Maybe he was expecting more respawns.
Oh, it's a huge stagger.
Oh, that's so big. Especially for a solo support, that's so big.
But then Warlock Tail goes too far and gets picked off himself, so both Mercies are down. The advantage that Prolegion Gaming have, though, is they have Cole on the Lucio with the beat if necessary. Lupo is just going to get hacked and killed by Stimpy, who already has EMP.
And Reminisce they have 5. They have options to shut these things down, and we have to see what they do with it. But Stimp has that EMP. All it takes is one triangle, and there it is. That's 3.
EMP, 3 hit, but the Valk comes out just before. Both tanks are down though for Reminisce. They do have the bomb to throw out here with the EMP, which is probably going to be the combo that they're going to need to stop this point. But Yax is going to get booped down by Cole. Looks like they're going to try to focus down this Ash before the bomb can actually get off. They're chasing him all the way. Gooder's going to commit to chasing this Ash to make sure he dies. He's actually going to lose his life though because he gets too greedy. Wartail, you're going to go and res him and have to pop the Valk just to get back up.
Committed that Valkyrie there. Interesting choice to commit that Valkyrie.
EP coming in by Jibri. Connects with 3. Cole's going to commit. Stand by. Valk coming in. 2 people are off. Oh, huge barrage coming in.
Libero big on those 2. That was 2 very big picks, and Walnut Tail going down. That's 4 down on the side of Prolegion, and that's a hold. They committed a lot into that though.
they leave themselves with one ultimate, but luckily for them, Prolegion Gaming also only have the one ultimate in the Dragons, but unfortunately for them, they have 3 minutes to build up an ultimate bank to get this payload. What, 11 meters is that? To take the series.
There's a lot of time that could still be made, and Stimp is already halfway to an EMP. All it takes is for him to just focus out Wilden again, and there's this pick comes in though. Oh, and Walnut Tail gets taken out by that was such an important hook. That's gonna buy them so much more time. They can't go in on that.
Do have to mention Stimp's just trying to get EMP charge right now. Ghibli has now made the switch from the Summer onto the Lucius, so they now do have 2 supports. The issue is Stimp's at like 90% for his EMP. They're not going to have a defensive ultimate ready in time to try and counter this. But right now they're staggering. GTA the last to go picked up by Yahtzee, who's now spamming away. He's got a bob. Rez is going to be coming though because they want to get in now. They know they have advantage with this EMP with no defensive ultimate to prevent it.
Meanwhile
there is the EMP connected with 4.
Yahtzee goes down with Bob in
Yahtzee
hand.
falls, the Bob can't go out.
That's so
Dragons
important.
are going to come across the point. That delays the Rez as well. Rez can't be made because the Dragons go across the body. Huge players coming from Gunner.
Midnight died in the middle of that whole hog, and that was so big that could have bought them the space.
Gonna get a 4K at the end.
Comes in. There it is.
Bob just about managed to get the Bob. On point. The Hammond, the merchant Hammond is also out.
And that they're gonna have to just trickle in and maybe.
They're just gonna have to stall as much as they possibly can. Huge pick by Cole. Gets rid of WX on that Hammond. He could have spun around all day. Only support
another Dragons come in on Gunner.
They're just gonna have to point, and just like that. The Mercy slides are a little bit too high, and Prolegion are going to take the 4th map and progress through to the Grand Finals.
What a game! What a game we've seen today. Just back and forth, and Gunner's really on this Hanzo just clinched so much of that.
This is where he gets the 4K. Look at this flank around. They don't even know he's here. Huge pick on the Mercy, he goes for the Rez.
That was such a big headshot. Yeah, it wasn't even his goal.
Just before that, he uses the Dragon to go over the body of the person who had Ash. I can't remember. Yahtzee had.
Yahtzee had the Bob.
He falls to the EMP. He throws that Dragon across there just before that play of the game, over the body to deny that Rez, so they can't bring Bob back in. Which you see right at the end, he's managed to get back in. The Bob gets in. It just instantly gets hacked by Stim. But again, huge plays on the Sombra coming in from Stim there.
Really, the Sombras all shined in this game, and that was really, I think, the big thing for this was that you saw how just a single Sombra player can change games, and even in a meta where Goats is still very strong at 3-3, you really just can do things with a good Sombra or a good DPS player.
I mean, Prolegion Gaming, they looked extremely solid when they played that Sombra composition. We saw it on Junktown. We saw it on Volskaya.
I think if you're Prolegion, you're feeling really good about this going into the finals, and you've taken down the undefeated team. You really showed what you had between your just good DPS duo of Stimp and Gunners, and you're just very good support line in Walnut and Cole. Both of them, there's no player really had a bad. There was no one really like leaving them on a bad end. They all carried each other so well.
I mean, we mentioned at the start, what a story for Prolegion. I covered their quarterfinal match against Rebirth NA. So they've had to play one extra round. Remember, Reminisce didn't play a quarterfinals. They went straight through to the semi-finals after being unbeaten. So Prolegion, they're taking the hard way to get to these grand finals right now. And you'd have to say, after the route which they've taken, obviously going for the quarterfinals, now knocking out the only team that was left that was unbeaten, you have to be the favourites now for the finals. Surely you have to be so confident.
Oh, I think you're feeling really good if you're Prolegion. Me personally, I'm sad we didn't get to see Busan. I would have loved him at 5, but I think if you're Prolegion, you're really excited and you're feeling good going into this final.
I am completely lost for words. Is it Swift? Try and explain what we just saw in that series.
So I mean, I think what it really boiled down to. The DPS and their positioning, Prolegion just seemed to win that battle, right? I know we talked at length on some of the DPS plays made by players on both sides, but I do want to also take a second and shout out the support players, right? So one
Absolutely.
of the big reasons that Pro Legion's Widowmaker was able to put in as much work as she did was because their Mercy was doing an incredible job of bouncing back and forth from the tanks, keeping them topped up, to getting the damage boost onto the Mercy. So Pro Legion's Widow, while hitting those headshots, really didn't have to rely on that to get value. So the body shots were still going to get value. They were still going to put in work and allow the rest of the team to follow up on it. So it was a lot of incredible gameplay there. And then go ahead.
I would say, and I think you can't also ignore the fact that let's just discuss that tank line. We saw GTA The Lost just making himself known every time. I don't think of an Orisa player as someone who can really like make a bunch of space, and he just put himself out there and asserted, no, this is my bunker, we are right here, and this is ours now. And he just made that so much, he just made that so able for everybody else to do their things perfectly.
Yeah, I would agree with that completely. A tank's job is to make space and create opportunities, and you don't think of Orisa as doing that, but yeah, dude.
I think they showed us that we can take that aggressive Orisa stance now.
The other thing I want to point out is we didn't talk about it a whole lot, but ZR Midnight's Diva, especially on Volskaya and Nepal, was on point. Pro Legion kept trying to run the Pharah, and ZR was just making it a borderline impossibility. Always in their face, defense matrix on point. So honestly, just incredible gameplay all around. Sorry to see Reminisce not advance, but I'm excited to see what Pro Legion brings to the table in the grand finals. So we are wrapping up this broadcast. Be sure to tune in, guys, for the remainder of this week. We're going to have games every day this week, starting at 8 p.m. Some nights we even have doubleheaders running late into the night. So if you're looking to see some of the phenomenal semifinal gameplay throughout the rest of this week, tune in CGL1 here on Twitch, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to have you covered all week long as we wrap up our semifinals. If you're not already a member of the Discord, please check it out down below. All of our contact information is there. I've been your host, Swift63. Before we sign off, so Donham, do you have any social media, any teams you want to shout out real quick before we wrap this up?
Sure. If anybody cares to hang out with me and talk to me about Overwatch stuff, you can find me on Facebook and Twitch. If you don't, also on Twitter. But you know, all those standard places. And I just want to say, having seen Pro Legion earlier in the season, like I said, they astonished me. So I look forward to great things from them and just great things from all the teams coming up.
Right on, man. Optimus.
I think
we know your face, brother. You've been around a while, but do you want to have anything to say before we sign off?
I think a few people know who I am in chat. You mentioned about obviously the action does not stop, and in fact it doesn't, because there is a game tomorrow which I will be covering on my channel. Another semi-final match happening at the same time as this one was. So that's going to be on my personal channel.
That's what's up. We do have double headers later this week. That's right.
Yeah.
My so it's my own personal Twitch of Optimus 015. It's exactly the same as what my PSN actually is, weirdly enough. And I'm actually currently at 92 followers, thanks to you lovely people who follow me. So maybe I'll hit 100 as well in that stream, hopefully. So that'd be a nice landmark to achieve for a semi-finals match. As you mentioned, I'm extremely looking forward to seeing Pro Legion play in the grand finals after that performance. Obviously, I watched them play in the quarterfinals, and they looked even more solid in this round than they did in that quarterfinal. So they've obviously gone away, they've obviously drilled. Okay, Nepal, you can probably look at was a slight little bit of a roll, but I mean, sometimes you can't prevent that. You can't prevent those. Sometimes you lose the map. They pick themselves back up, and you can see on Volskaya they picked themselves up instantly by setting such a ridiculous time.
Mm-hmm.
So they had instant advantage from that point onwards to take that map and just ride the momentum into Eichelwald. And I think it was the Somworth players in the end that came in clutch, I'd have to say. But yeah, that's the end of this series today, and we've got another one tomorrow, which I'm going to be covering.
I can't wait to turn into your channel for more of this. This is going to be worth it.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
I'm hoping tomorrow's game's going to be as entertaining. I really do, because it's nice to see these games now. We're past the normal games in the normal season where it's a 3-0. It's slightly getting boring towards the third match because you know the other teams won. Some of the quarterfinals were sort of the same. You could sort of tell which way they were going to go, but on paper, this did not look like it was going to go to Prolegion in the slightest. So you could definitely put this in the upset category right now. This is Atlanta Reign versus New York Excelsior, if you want to use the analogy from earlier. So
100%.
Going into that final, I expect Prolegion Gaming are definitely going to show up, and whoever their opponents are, be ready for that Somber, I think, is probably what you're going to have to expect.
For sure. So, thanks everyone for tuning in. We do appreciate it. Thanks for all the new follows this evening. They do really help the channel continue to grow. So, thanks for sticking around. We do appreciate it. Again, I've been Swift63 on the stream, Optimus. So I've done them. Thanks for sticking around, guys, and keep grinding, everyone.